Hello and welcome to the Get At It Gaming Plus holiday episode. This one's going to be pre-recorded. Happy holidays. I'm Ben,
I'm Alex.
and this is one of our episodes during the holidays, so Alex and I can take a break. We come at you every single week with awesome nerdness. In so this time of year we decided to take a break. We did it last year, and that way you guys still have something to listen to, and we get some much needed break time. We love doing the podcast, but doing a podcast every single week for an entire year without missing, it's good to take a couple weeks off. So
Yeah, like it's really shocking. Hopefully by the time this happens, we still haven't missed a week. Fingers crossed. But
I know,
at the time of recording, we haven't missed over a year so far.
yeah,
Crazy.
it is. We love doing the podcast, but we also love the holidays to not record. But things still come out, and we're going to still stay active on Facebook and Twitter with there. So if you have anything that you guys want to talk about or comment, we're definitely going to be there. But today's episode is super special to me. Alex and I found common ground with these movies. We're going to be talking about Rush Hour 1 and Rush Hour 2. And a little back history on me. When I was 17, I started collecting Jackie Chan movies. At one point, I had so many of them. Everything from um, Fearless Hyena 1 and 2, or The Man with Cracked Fingers, to Wheels on Meals and Dragons Forever. So when these movies came to mainstream, it was like, oh my God, it's Jackie Chan. We've got Jackie Chan in the United States. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of talk about the films, talk about plots. These both these films are Alex and I some of our favorite films. So
Yes.
let's just jump into it. Let's talk about Rush Hour 1. Um,
Yeah. Well, actually, I do want to
oh
say something really quick. We're not talking about Rush Hour 3 because it's not a good film.
no, we're not gonna talk about it. It was really not
Yeah,
good.
it's pretty bad. It has a couple good jokes here or there, but we thought that we would talk about Rush Hour 1 and 2 because Rush Hour 2 is my favorite film ever. Like if you ask me like what my favorite films are, if it's an anime, I say Castle Cagliostro, the Lupin the Third movie, everything like. But if it's like a movie, American movie, I always say Rush Hour 2. So
Yeah, and it was, to be honest, I think in his a lot of his American films, that was one of the better ones.
yeah,
Not saying that his cowboy movies were not bad. They weren't
Shanghai
as good.
Noon, Shanghai Nights.
Yeah, I only like Shanghai Nights because Donnie Yen was in it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was such a small role. But the other thing we're not going to really address. Yes, these movies were directed by Brett Ratner. Um, we're not going to talk much about him. He did some pretty awful things, and we're not going to focus on him. We're going to focus on the movies, the characters in general.
Yep.
Um, yes, he did these films. These are great films, but he's kind of an asshole. So we just want to bring that kind of up,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of, you know, talk about it for a second. But that is it. But now we can get into the greatness, which is Rush Hour. Little back history. It came out in 1998. Holy crap. Um,
Yeah.
I had known who Chris Tucker was from Friday and a couple of films, and obviously I knew who Jackie Chan was. Um,
He
you
was
know,
in. Did Fifth Element come out yet?
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it did.
because he was in that. Chris Tucker, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't to me in Fifth Element. It wasn't like going back and seeing him, like, oh my God, that's Chris Tucker, right?
Yeah.
He's not as a big role in those films
No.
as that, but I felt this was a good chance for him to come out and be like a good supporting character.
Yeah.
Friday was great, you know?
I don't think I've actually seen Friday.
What?
Yeah.
Uh, it's supposed to be a comedy, but
Hmm.
it really kind of isn't a comedy. It deals with like, you know, being in LA, gangs, drug dealing and stuff like that. And it doesn't have like there's some like very serious elements.
Mm-hmm.
The second and the third one are totally comedies,
Okay.
but this one was. But that's who I knew him from.
So I mean, it's
So
like Rush Hour. Like, I mean, honestly, Rush Hour. The way that people describe the Rush Hour trilogy, um, and this is probably the only time I'm really gonna. We're never gonna like explicitly like talk about Rush Hour 3, but I might reference it when it comes to the other films. Like Rush Hour 1 is very like serious with a little comedy. Rush Hour 2 is a good mix of both comedy and seriousness. And then Rush Hour 3 is just throws out all the seriousness and it's like trying to focus too hard on comedy, and that's where it fails.
right, it was like an overkill, and there was. My also thought there was just way too much time between two and three. You know, and I think that was the biggest problem.
Yeah, it
And
was
they did try to be overly funny.
like 3 came out in like 2008. I'll check, but
I'm checking right now.
2007.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's like 6 years there in between those two films. So, but
yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
yeah. And I felt like it just didn't. It didn't get like what Rush Hour One is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, it's so funny. I'm reading like what IMDb has as the plot. It says a loyal and dedicated Hong Kong inspector teams up with a reckless, loudmouth LAPD detective to rescue a Chinese consulate's kidnapped daughter while trying to arrest a dangerous crime lord along the way. Um, yeah, I think that definitely sums it up. What the film was. Um, I think the best part was out of all the things that have been going on, with different actors and who they could have got,
Mm-hmm.
the fact they got Jackie, it was Jackie Chan with Chris Tucker made these films.
Jackie
You
Chan,
know,
known for doing his own stunts, and it really does show in a lot of these things.
yes, I will tell you the fight scenes. You can tell they're Jackie
Mm-hmm.
all the way, and we'll get into specific scenes later in the film. But um, yeah, so Alex, what? Yeah, I know I kind of read that, but you want to deep a little bit deeper into the plot and like the story and stuff like that.
Yeah. Basically, what happens in layman terms, like what happens in the plot is that the Juntao are trying to steal treasures and stuff, but then they also capture Jackie Chan, Chief Inspector Lee's friend, and he's an ambassador as well. They capture the daughter, and because of that, um, that's why Chief Inspector Lee tries to go to America and go help out with the case. But the FBI like try to stop Lee from going at all because they're like, no, we have it under control. And they basically go and talk to the LAPD, and they're like, all right, who can you let go for basically babysitting? And LAPD hates Chris Tucker, Carter. They hate him so much that they're just like, we got a guy who can babysit, and so that's just what it is. It's just uh, Carter thinks that he's hot shit, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm working with the FBI, and it turns
Oh, I
out
love that.
like once he realizes like what it all is, he gets really mad about it, and he actually tries to like start investigating, and then eventually they all like go together and help out with the plot and stuff. But it's a buddy cop film. Um, I know buddy cop films existed for a long time before this, but
Oh yeah,
these are really the first two movies that made me fall in love with buddy cop films because they do it so perfectly. And honestly, I did watch the reboot TV series. I didn't think it was bad. I really didn't think that TV series of Rush Hour was bad. Because I just like buddy cop film things.
yeah,
But yeah, it's like seeing just Chris Tucker with his comedic timing and attitude, with Jackie Chan being a fish out of water. It's just a really fun time just watching these two interact. Jackie not knowing what to do, Carter not understanding, Jackie. I keep switching between Jackie and Lee. I'm like the bloopers. Isn't that right, Jackie? Jackie. Um,
The bloopers are the best,
the
by the way.
bloopers are the best part about these movies, honestly. But yeah, like Lee for the longest time, like he pretends he doesn't speak English, and just because he just wants to focus on doing what he wants to do, he breaks into the house that's heavily guarded by the FBI, who's holding the ambassador there, and he finds out like what the issue is and what actually happened, and then that's when stuff kind of starts happening, and when Carter realizes that he is babysitting, and then he gets mad, and then they both just trying to start investigating on their own. But Carter doesn't want to get in trouble, so like he handcuffs Lee to like the steering wheel, and then Lee gets the steering wheel off and is like walking around with it. Yeah, there's just a lot of things in this film. There's a lot of again like fish out of water jokes. There's the famous "Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth?" Like that
I
kind of
love
stuff.
I love it when he's like Jackie finally starts, or yeah, he starts speaking English, right?
Yeah,
He goes, you he goes, why you not tell me that? He goes,
you never
sometimes I
asked or
just
something.
yeah. He goes, sometimes I like to let people talk. They like to talk a lot just so I can know how much full of shit they really are.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny. And I think there were a lot of this is like the big upbringing of the buddy cop. Like I can tell you like a couple. So Bad Boys was
Mm-hmm.
one of them. Um, the Last Boy Scout was one with Bruce Willis and or not Matt Damon, Damon Wayans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those were all rated R. You know, heavy on the violence and stuff. So this was something different where it was like the slapstick, funny stuff, but PG-13. That's my dog, by the way. But I love. Sorry, we.
This is fun. No, no, we're keeping it in. It's totally fine.
Not yet. I don't know what he saw. But I love. With these buddy cop films, I think the favorite scene is when they're in the car. It's Carter and Lee, and he's doing the whole head bobbing dance thing in the
Yeah.
car. And, and for a minute there, I'm just thinking, in real life, Jackie's probably like, "What the hell is going on right now?"
Yeah, because they're listening to music. Jackie changes it to Beach Boys, and then Chris changes. I keep switching the name. Yeah, Chris Tucker, Jackie, whatever. Lee changes it to Beach Boys, and then Carter changes it back to whatever it was, and they're doing the head bob thing,
Right.
and yeah, like it's when they start like actually starting to bond a little bit and care for each other just throughout this film. Like it's very it takes a while, but like that's where I like Rush Hour 2 a lot, because like you see everything's already established, so like you don't have to deal with this whole
Right.
like do they hate each other, do they not?
Well, and I feel like for this film, besides the comedy and the action element that take place in the films, um, you know, the main bad guys are perfect, and there
Yep.
is a twist. I mean, are we gonna say spoiler alert? We should probably just say spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, spoiler for this whole thing, because we're gonna talk about all the plot.
I mean, if you haven't seen it by now, then come on, it was 1998.
Yep.
Um, but Sang, who they think is Jun Tao, is a very good villain.
Mm-hmm.
Just like no heart, just very heartless, very much like a gangster, which is hilarious because I've seen him in the guy, the actor that plays him. I've seen him in other films where he's a bad guy and he's just as awful.
Mm-hmm.
You just hate him. Um, but the whole time that Lee and Carter are working together, they're not supposed to be working on the case at all.
Yeah.
FBI's like, do not do this. We're gonna handle it.
Mhm.
But Counselor Han has no faith in the FBI.
Yeah.
So, they start working together where Jackie is like, the fighter, he's quicker. a better cop, and Carter's more of like, I'm gonna be able to talk our way out of what's going on here.
Yeah, he's
That's
very
what I
street
view.
smart, and that's why he like goes and finds um his cousin and
The best part.
that's the best scene.
Hilarious.
Like it's a very fish out of water thing again, like where they go to a bar and he's just like, just let me do the talking or act like me or something. And Chris Tucker says a word that we can't say on here, but he's like, "What's up, my word?" And the guy's like, "Oh, what's up?" And then he leaves. And then Jackie's just like waiting there for a bit. And he goes up to the bartender and says the same thing. And he gets punched because he just
Yeah,
doesn't know like culture or anything. And then you just see Jackie do all of his Jackie stunts and like
yes.
is fighting with the pool cue and everything. And by the time Carter comes right back out, like he's beating everyone up.
My favorite scene there is the old man that's trying to smoke weed, and they keep taking out of his hand, and on the way out, he takes it and goes, "This is bad for you. Why are you doing this?" And the guy on his face is like, I don't even know what's
Yeah,
going
he
on."
doesn't even know he's there,
Yeah,
honestly, the guy.
and that fight scene was really good because in previous movies that Jackie's done in the United States, they've not let him do his thing.
Hmm.
He did a movie a long time ago called The Big Brawl, and there's like one of the scenes he uses in like when he's been in interviews is like there's a scene where I came down the ladder, I kick a guy here, and I jump off and kick another guy. So he goes to the director, goes, okay, I want to just jump, not go down the ladder, straight down,
Hmm.
back flip off of this, kick this guy. And the guy's like, you know what, let's just keep to the script. So this was finally a time for Jackie to be like, look, this is what, if I'm going to do this, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
um, and that whole fight scene is totally Jackie Chan using pool cues, billiard balls, the lights above
Yeah, he's swinging on the
that.
lights.
Yeah, and he's doing like flips and stuff like that off tables. That is true Jackie Chan. So
Mhm.
for me to see this and see that all that is has been fantastic. And it was even funnier because you know he was like, Car's like, there's a scene where he takes Carter's gun or whatever. He's like, how'd you do that? And so that's how that friendship comes along
Yeah,
of like
they
not only
show
like,
the thing. Yeah, the
yeah,
twisting the
n-
gun.
not even just that, but just to like, yes, we're gonna try and solve this case, but I'm gonna show you this as well.
That's when
Um,
War played, right?
yeah,
Because then they start dancing the War.
yeah, they started dancing and singing the war, and Jackie was showing him like moves,
Hmm.
you know. And I think by that point in the movie, they're not disliking each other anymore. They're trusting each other,
Yeah,
and they both really want to help this girl out.
yeah,
And this is also where Chris Tucker has gone back to his unit and asked people for help, even though they all hate him. They all
yeah,
hate Carter because he works with himself. I think
yeah.
a couple other people were actually partners.
Oh, he
with
had
him.
was it this movie where he had Patrick Warburton as a partner or something? Didn't he? Wait, no, I'm thinking of some other movie.
Yeah,
He had some partner with him, and they're like he like didn't work well with them, and he's like I'm out, and then they're like this is why he's like I don't work good with people or something,
I
and
know the the one Johnson.
yeah,
She's doing her like bomb test, right?
mm-hmm,
And he just barges in, and she screws up, and the little smoke thing goes. And that was one of his partners,
yeah,
and it did not work well
yeah,
because he does like to be a loner. But through the movie, he convinces her, like, look, if you're not gonna do it for me, do it for the little girl,
mm-hmm,
because they were running out of time. You
yeah,
know, June Tao, which is supposed to be the main bad guy, was really wanting money, and he was wanting a bunch of other things. And like, if he didn't give them that, they were gonna kill the daughter. But really,
yeah,
that was all a ploy to steal these artifacts.
mm-hmm,
Like the money wasn't really anything at all. But I think by this point in the film, Carter's got people at the police force like, we're gonna help you out, okay?
yeah,
Not for you, but for the girl.
yeah,
Um, which all ends up probably one of the craziest fight scene gun shootouts ever, um, and twists of a movie. So uh, I think that's the best part about these movies is it has a good plot, has a good start, middle, and then ending,
mm-hmm,
which is rare. a lot of times you get to the middle of the film and you're like, okay, so now it's kind of like dying down, but this is like up and down the whole time,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, definitely. Um, because honestly, wow, there's a lot in this movie, but at the same time, it's so straightforward that like we've almost pretty much gone through this film. It's pretty safe, but it's still really really good. Whereas I feel like Rush Hour 2, we probably have a lot more to say. Um, but because yeah, like you said, there's the big twist as there seems to be in every Rush Hour. It's actually someone from like the United States who's the bad guy, who's like controlling uh the Juntao or the mafia and all that, and you find out they are the Juntao instead. Um, and so like you get that, you get them finally rescuing the girl, kind of, but she has a bomb strapped to her, so it's a callback to the beginning where Johnson can't do the bomb, and uh, Carter has to be like, you can do this, um,
Yeah.
and they can't get it on in time, so then they kind of catch them in the act, and they they grab her and they're talking and like trying to do some sort of negotiation, and they're like, just push the button. It's like, push the goddamn button, and then she's like, and then the little girl's like, push the damn button.
Oh yeah, because they brought her to them
Yeah,
and they were all because now they're in the presence of this bomb around her
yeah,
neck. You know, that was the best. And the look on, you know, Lee's face of like, this is a horrible idea.
like don't put the kid in jeopardy like
Right,
this.
right. I think it's even crazier. So, like, Kensler Han's good friend from the beginning that told him to move to the States is Juntao
Yeah.
Griffin, which is played by Tom Wilkinson,
Mm-hmm.
who I think is an awesome bad guy. He has played a bad guy in like tons of films. And I just like him anyway. But like, that's the twist: is you find out that this guy has been manipulating the whole time what was going on to steal these artifacts from China that were in the United States to sell them for money.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and you're right. Like we've blazed through this film pretty well, but in the same token, it is so straightforward. There's no, I mean, it's like it is what it is. It's from
Yeah.
start to finish. This is what it is. And two is a little more complex.
Yeah.
So
There's so many
one,
different like locales and plot points, and honestly, because it's my favorite of the two, I just remember more of it.
right?
um but I
Let's
mean, yeah, I mean, before we get off of that, like, I mean, obviously they all save the day. They get everything fine. Su Young is reunited with Han. And then it ends with Carter getting on the plane with Lee, and they start singing "War," and
yes,
Carter's like, "I'm gonna go on a vacation." So they go to China, like near the end, or go to Hong Kong as a reward.
I
Um,
love it when like Jackie Chan's like, I'm going to show you my hood. Uh, although there is one thing that we have to bring up with this film
mm-hmm.
for Rush Hour. So I don't think people realize this, but if I'm remembering correctly, I'm looking at the list to make sure I got everyone that's in here. But if I remember correctly, maybe it's the second one. Don Cheadle is in one of them.
He's in the second one.
Okay, okay, never mind.
Yeah, he has a bigger role.
Yes, um, but there's a lot of famous people in the second one, by the way, a lot. But I think the best thing about this film I really liked was not only did it have the buddy cop comedy, but it just was well done. The action was well done, and of course, at the very end of the film, they have the bloopers. They have the stunts that Jackie, you know, messed up on and got maybe hurt at. And you know, the best part was is people don't realize this. The stunt people that were on the film with for this film,
Mm-hmm.
they were Jackie's stunt team.
Yeah.
And so Jackie Chan has his own stunt team in Hong Kong, and he uses them for like almost every movie. They are all fearless. Um, they're all fearless, and they are all willing to put their bodies in line
Yeah.
for our entertainment. And and especially with some of the fight scenes at the end, you could totally tell that those were those guys, trained martial artists, trained, and everything. Uh, and I think that's what made this film really good. Like a lot of times, when you have these, the cop movies or whatever, when they they're trying to do stunts. A, you can tell it's not them, and B, it just doesn't work out, especially with the martial arts.
Yeah.
But these films were good in that aspect, in the martial arts aspect. But they were
Hmm.
just like it just was a funny film. I think Chris Tucker brought the comedy, and Jackie Chan brought the action.
Yeah. And that's why the second film just does a lot more because they both bring comedy and action. Like Chris Tucker does a lot more action in the second film, and I
Yeah,
think that's what really helps out a lot. I'm looking at IMDb really quick, just looking at some of the quotes. Because I feel like we should talk about some of these quotes because I will reference them later because they reference them in the second film, but a little different. Um, because Lee is like, "You must take me to see Council Han right away." Carter, "Man, just sit there and shut up. This ain't no democracy." "Yes, it is." "No, it ain't. This is the United States of James Carter. I'm the president. I'm the emperor. I'm the king. I'm Michael Jackson. You're Tito. Your ass belongs to me." So just remember, I'm Michael Jackson. You're Tito. Because that's a thing that comes up later in Rush Hour 2. But yeah, they really do bond. I'm looking at the quotes again. They really do bond over as well after they do the whole gun thing. That their both of their fathers were policemen who died during action while fighting. And so they kind of just like argue about their dads. They're like, "Oh yeah, well my daddy did this. Oh yeah, well my
yes,
father did this. My daddy caught a bullet." um, like stuff like that. So like there's a lot of good quotes in here and stuff, but man, I'm just looking at more of these. That guy, it's like, "Bobby, I didn't look the other way that one time you bought a bag of weed. I was splitting with you. Well, didn't I give you the bigger half?"
yeah,
But yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to bring up the Toto thing or the Tito thing. Excuse me. Now I messed it up. But yeah, I think it's about time for Rush Hour 2 if you're ready.
yeah. Let's move to Rush Hour 2. So Rush Hour 2 was not too far after this film. So Rush Hour 2 came out in 2001.
Hmm.
That is a fast production time,
Yeah.
but Jackie, doing Asian cinema, is used to the fast turnarounds. They don't like to do a lot of retakes over in Hong Kong. So this one literally takes place right after the first one,
Yeah.
and so it's Carter being there and Jackie saying, "I swear we're not working. I swear we're not working,"
We're on vacation.
but he is working.
Yeah.
He's working a very very big case. Um, so I think it starts off. This one's a little more deep. It does have the comedy. It has the action, but I feel like this one gets a lot more deep
Yeah.
um, in tone. But it starts off where Carter is pissed off because this is supposed to be vacation, but all Jackie's done is Lee is worked. He's like, we're gonna go to fun place. We're gonna take you, and it's heaven on earth, like massage parlor, bathhouse.
Hmm.
So he's like, oh, this is perfect, right? Uh, you know, but again, the best part is, as they're in this bathhouse, they're in there, and Lee is working, and he gets into a very bad situation, and a fight breaks out. But this shows Chris Tucker actually doing some of his own stunts and fight scenes,
Yeah.
which didn't happen in the first one. Um, and seeing Jackie work in this one is even crazier.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he's on the ground and a guy was kicking a stool, and he does a kip up over
Yeah.
the stool.
Spins around the stool.
That's the most ridiculous thing ever, to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Um, but it's more of a buddy comedy. This is definitely along the lines of the first one,
Yeah.
just more deep. Um, you know, I think it's really funny when they're driving down the road at the very beginning before they go to this place, and they're listening to the Beach Boys.
Yeah. They're
Carter
doing the
takes a
head
flip
thing.
out and throws it, you know?
Mhm.
Lee's like, "Never touch an Asian man's radio, ever." Uh, yeah, but I think out of the series, this is probably my favorite
Yeah.
out of
I think
all of
it is again because like a lot of those callbacks to jokes, like because the first one was like "Don't touch a black man's stereo,"
them. Yep.
and like now Lee is saying those but reversed. Like when they are uh like when he's like, "All right, you need to like be quiet and you need to be good." Over here, I am Michael Jackson and you are Toto, and then he's like, "You mean Tito? Toto's what we had last night for dinner." Like,
Yes.
come on and let's go do this or something.
And I think what is really good about this one is the cast as well. So besides you have them, I'm gonna totally butcher her name. Is it she was in
Uh,
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? Is it Zhang
Zhang,
Yi?
Zhang Ji, probably.
She was blowing up because she was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and she
Yeah,
had been in a bunch of other things. Um, Rosalind Sanchez. One that threw me completely off was Alan King out of nowhere
yeah,
was in this film.
yeah. Near the end.
Um, and we won't talk about all of them, but we can talk about Jeremy Pivens later,
Hmm.
uh, who made a cameo.
Yeah, a,
Um,
a very good cameo.
oh my gosh,
I love the
the
outtakes.
oh my gosh, Jeremy Pivens is hilarious anyway, and the outtakes were even funnier because no one could keep. Let me rephrase that. Chris Tucker couldn't keep a straight face.
Hmm.
Jackie Chan was like, "This is the way we do movies here, okay? You
Yeah,
just don't do that."
yeah.
Uh, but I will tell you, this is like twice the action than the first one.
Hmm.
More fight scenes, more action,
More
more
comedy as well.
yeah, and the more scenes of like Jackie being like, "This is probably not a good idea without a wire, but I'm gonna do it anyway."
Yeah, because one of the first things I remember, which is one of my favorite scenes in this film, honestly, a lot of this film is my favorite. Like, it's one of those movies that I could just turn on and just have it on. I love the part where they go to the bar, and because he needs to go, and I think it's pretty near in the beginning, because Jackie's investigating about Ricky Tan and all this,
Oh yeah,
and they're looking for Ricky Tan, and it's a it's a bar, it's a Chinese bar, and he's like, "All right, don't do anything, just stay here, be quiet." And he's like, "All right, I'll be quiet." And while Jackie Lee is doing stuff in the back, uh, Carter sees this guy singing Michael Jackson, and he's just doing an awful time. And he's like, "Boo! You're butchering a classic." And then while Lee comes back, and then you just all seeing Carter just going like, "Get closer, oh, get closer." And he's just like singing. And he's like, come on, Lee."
what was crazy about that was like, he said, "Carter, these are all gangsters,
Yeah,
like almost like yakuza, but not
yeah,
yakuza." Um, it's funny because as they get in trouble there, they were stripped of their clothes.
mm,
So I was on IMDb. That scene there when they were running naked
mm.
was an actual take in production because they couldn't block off the street for the shot.
So they just ran during in actual traffic.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Uh, you know, at this point in the movie, it's hard because Carter and Lee's relationship is rocky. Like
Yeah,
they're very good friends, but you know, Lee lied to him.
yeah,
You know, and so they go back to the precinct, and there's a bomb dropped off, and the bomb goes off,
yeah,
but Carter had left and no one saw him, so they all thought Carter had died in the bomb.
yeah.
And it's sad because it literally is like, you see Jackie being like, "This is my fault," like in
Yeah.
his mind, of like, "This is my fault," and it definitely hits a different tone of the movie, completely different tone.
Yeah, you see Jackie get really sad. You see him driving and him doing the head bop to the song, and he eventually gets really happy because he's remembering Carter and like doing the head bop and stuff. Um, but Yeah, I like that scene too, where they come in and they're like, the Chinese person there is talking to the U.S. FBI agent or whoever, because the bomb happened in a U.S. embassy, so that's why the United
Yeah.
States are here. And it's like, oh, I'll bring my top person, Chief Inspector Lee, and then you see those two come in like all like with newspaper around them, all naked, and it's like, who the hell was that? That was Chief Inspector Lee.
Uh, and then like Carter's just like walking around because he got into a fight with his cab driver
Yeah,
and he's dropped in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
And then a lady tries to, I think he bought a chicken because the lady was going to kill it.
Yeah, he's like, "Don't kill the chicken." Yeah, or he's like, "Oh, I like them fried. You ever heard of Popeyes?" And she's like, "Oh yeah," and she starts to kill it. He's like, "Don't kill the chicken right now." He has like a badge and stuff that he holds up,
Yeah.
and he just has
And
the
this,
chicken.
and he doesn't speak Chinese at all. So this is a great scene. Jackie is forced to go and continue the investigation
Yeah,
of everything that's going on.
which leads them to the boat, right? The Red
Yep.
Dragon. Yeah,
Yep. Which is even crazier because Carter's already on the boat. I don't remember how he got there, but uh, for some reason he's there and he's like literally just shooting the shit with everybody, like, oh, this is a nice party. And then he happens to be at the right place at the right time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that's
Because he's trying to flirt with the agent lady, and it's like, "This is my boat. This is my yacht. This is your yacht? Yes, the SS Minnow Johnson." Oh, really? Well, it says the Red Dragon. Oh, I must have got on the wrong yacht. All these yachts look alike.
yeah, which is hilarious because he's talking to Rosalind Sanchez,
Yeah.
who her character is an agent.
Hmm.
So, which by the way, she has a badge. Literally, it's funny. He goes, "Show me your badge." When they're talking about this,
Later,
and
yeah.
yeah, it's literally like on a bra strap, like right there, and you see a huge cleavage scene. And he goes,
Show me
"Show me
again.
that again."
I
Yeah,
didn't get. I didn't get a good look.
but like this is where he meets Stephen Rain, who is another character that it turns out to be a bad guy.
Hmm.
Um, but it's great because he's in the right place. He gets back with Jackie, and Jackie's like, "You're not dead," you know.
Yeah.
But they are on the right track of getting Ricky Tan busted, who I think, if I remember correctly, the main bad guy, Ricky Tan, used to be Lee's partner, right?
Ricky
Or they
Tan
worked together.
was his father's partner.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But he's no longer a police officer now. Now he does
Yeah. Now
like,
he works for the Chinese mafia and all that. The
yeah,
triad. The triad.
that's what it is, triad.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy, crazy thing there. And so um, they get back together, but then they get kicked off the boat.
I love the scene when they first see each other, and it's like, Carter, Lee, I thought you died. Who? You? Detective you? No, you. And they try to do this in Rush Hour 3 because they always try to call back jokes for the next movie. Rush Hour 3 didn't do it well.
No, no.
But yeah,
Um,
I just love how, yeah, they do get together, they find out the stuff, and they they try to get back to America as soon as they can.
yeah, which I think this is another example of how good the movie is because there's not a slow enough part where you're like, okay, I'm starting to get a little bored. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a continuation. Like I felt like going back to another buddy, Bad Boys had a whole part where it was like, this is just really slow.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to see is them shooting and blowing stuff up. Right? That's what That's the whole point of the movie. But this movie didn't have that. I mean, it legitimately was like going and going and going. And even when they get caught, right?
Yeah.
It's still action packed, which I was so stoked because when they got caught, when they were chasing the one guy, and then
Mm-hmm.
they run into the whole group of gangsters, um, I that's Ernie Reyes Jr.
Yeah.
And I was so hoping he would have some sort of fight scene. Nothing.
No.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was cool that he was in the film, but it wasn't, you know.
Yeah. I guess the most important thing that happens is Yeah, after the yacht and everything, when they're being caught and stuff, it looks like Ricky Tan has died, and so Lee is blamed for it and is taken off the case. And then
Yep.
Carter has to go back to LA, and that's how they get back to America. But Lee basically convinces Carter to come for him to come back too. So that's why now they're starting to investigate stuff over there, and that's when they stake out. That's when they stake out the woman who eventually is a when you find out she is like a government agent, because they're inspecting her across the way at the hotel, and you hear just Jackie Chan just being a pervert, honestly, and he's just like, "Slow down, baby." It's like, "What are you watching?" And it's like, "Oh, she's taking her clothes off. Let me see that." No, it's not right.
I remember that.
It's like, oh,
I mean,
she got a tattoo. It's Snoopy. I love Snoopy. Hold up, I love Snoopy too.
I love this because um, it goes back to the two of them being friends again,
Yeah,
especially now that Carter's not dead.
exactly. I think that really helped speed up the friend process there because they both thought each other died essentially.
Right. And I think that was important for the film because, you know, when he thought Carter was dead, you know, I felt like he was being more of a loose cannon
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't like his normal thing. Um, Although they still have arguments when they do get caught and they get put on the truck to be killed at
Yeah.
some point, and they're tied to the statues. They have the kick fight.
Yep.
That's hilarious. I die laughing every single time.
Yeah.
Trying to, they're tied up with their hands tied up over these statues like this,
Mm-hmm.
but their feet are free, right? And they start kicking each other because they're pissed at each other because
Yeah.
it's someone else's fault.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and I think that scene in general definitely is like super important. Um, because even though he thought Carter died, they're still pissed at each other because Carter is still unprofessional. And you know, but they end up still kind of working it out.
Yeah, because when they're kicking each other and stuff, I believe they accidentally kick open one of the statues in there, and they find all the money, the fake money.
Yes.
So that's how they find out about all of that, and that's when you find out as well. I'm moving all these plot points everywhere, but I want to get back to when they are in LA. I think it's before they get captured and all this. It's after they get recruited, quote unquote, by Secret Service, and they go visit Kenny, who is
Kenny.
yeah. So Kenny is Don Cheadle, um, and he fights a little bit with Lee, and they find out that they had almost the same master, but it was like his cousin or something,
They were brothers.
or brothers. Yeah. Um,
Uh,
so
which
they become friends pretty quick.
which I had to say, like Don Cheadle and him, the hand exchange between them,
Hmm.
which was small, was still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know, um, but it was funny because once they figured that out, they started talking to each other.
Yeah.
And Carter, I love it. And he goes, we call him 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Why? He goes, because he never shuts up.
Yeah.
I
His
goes,
mouth
oh,
never
I get it.
closes.
Yeah, and then like he's like, "We guys," Carter's getting pissed because he knows they're talking about him.
Hmm.
Um, that scene in the movie was like it was so small, but yet so big to kind of show where these movies have gone. That Don Cheadle has 10 minutes
Yeah.
tops. And when we talk about Jerry Piven's scene was not very big,
Hmm.
but the fact that he was in the film at all says a lot. That people are like doing cameos and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, after that's when they get kidnapped and stuff, and um
Vegas,
they're
isn't it?
taken to Vegas. Yeah, the Red Dragon. Um, and that's where Stephen Rain is there, like basically introducing and opening up this casino, the Red Dragon, for the first time. And he tells like a fake idiom, like a story about like, oh, there's a dragon long ago who had a big treasure, and today we have found that treasure and it's here, and have fun. And so it's
Yeah,
like it's just a big gambling casino that's run by fake money.
their plan is to get people to pay real money, and they're gonna give them the fake money when they win.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's total profit, and it gets that fake money out
Yeah,
there.
because
So
they found out about the super dollars, is what they call them, and that's when they go see Kenny for the first time. It's like, oh, did you get any money from the Triad or something? It's like, yeah, I got some for a while back, and then he opens the safe, and Carter takes one of them and like gets a lighter, and it burns red, which means that it's fake. Um, so that's how he finds out. It's like, oh, you got played. Who'd you get this from? And that's when they get kidnapped and all that kind of stuff. And now they're at the Red Dragon, which then Carter has to create a distraction, and so he just gambles and just really loud and obnoxious while Lee has to go and fight security and try to go in there and eventually finds Ricky Tan again. So,
I think the best part is when they find out they're in Vegas.
mm-hmm.
We got to get new clothes. We
Yeah,
can't go in there. And they walk in to this very expensive place, and Jeremy Pivens is there, and Jeremy Pivens is just on par.
mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, making some jokes, seeming very flamboyant, um, which is like overkill of what he does, and it's hilarious. And he kept, yeah, he, you know, he makes a comment about Chris Tucker being his like mocha or
Yeah,
whatever. That scene was hilarious, and if you watched it in the film, the outtakes of that is even funnier.
yeah. Because
Of
the
like,
guy like just Jeremy just kind of like misunderstands the situation. It's like, oh, he's my partner, but he doesn't want to dress up and look good. He's like, oh, well, he should look good. He's your partner, so he's kind of like playing around, not understanding everything, and talking about how like partners fight, but they shouldn't be fighting, and gets stuff. He's like, why don't I just put a dead animal on you? I'll come back or something. And then that's when they get all like the nicer clothes to go back to the actual casino and go
I
do all the fun stuff.
every time I see the scene where he goes, "What's the inseam? Let's go in and check."
Yeah,
Carter's like backs up. He goes, "Whoa!" He goes, "Slow down." He goes, he backs up, and he's just doing the thing there. I don't even think that was scripted.
yeah. I don't think
I
so
think,
either. He's like, he's got some fire in him. I like that. I'll be back.
yeah. Um, but as they are in the casino, and Carter is like trying to, you know, make a scene so Lee can get in there.
He keeps winning.
Yeah. What's even crazier is like the amount of like stunt stuff that Jackie does between there. Like when he goes under the gate,
Mm-hmm.
um, and he gets kind of stuck, but he gets under it. That's ridiculous. Um, yeah, no.
Yeah,
Uh, finally when they do meet up on the floor, that's when the big showdown happens. And I feel like it's like all big build up until
mm-hmm.
this scene there. So Chris Tucker has a crush on Zhang, and so the whole time she speaks no English. I think
Yeah,
barely any. And like he's gonna fight her because she's gonna kill him, and he's totally hitting on her
yep. The whole time.
the whole time, you know. Um, which I gotta hand it to her because the fight scenes for her were ridiculous, and it's a funny story about her. She originally was a dancer,
Mm-hmm.
like professional dancer, not like a stripper, but like and so now she does all this martial arts and stuff. But the fact that she's kicking the crap out of Carter is
Mm-hmm.
the funniest thing ever. You know, um, more so than Jackie's fight, of course. But that whole fight scene with her I can't tell if like you know he's like hitting on her or it's a fight, and that's what makes that scene so funny because she literally is kicking the living shit out of him. You know?
Yeah, there's a part that I really like, that I always quote. I forget who exactly he shoots, but Jackie or Carter is fighting and he shoots a guy, and of course he has to like say some like funny line or something. He like throws him like a handkerchief. He's like, "Wipe yourself off, man, because you did."
Oh, that was in Rush Hour.
Oh, was that in
That
Rush
was
Hour?
yeah.
Okay, well now I'm
That was
confusing
it.
movies.
Yeah.
Well, because
Although,
both movies take place in a higher location at the end.
well, when Ricky Tan makes his abrupt exit, um, there, there, you know, um, in the bloopers, there, I know Jackie was even laughing at this one when he falls. He obviously gets knocked out of a window,
Yeah.
and he goes down. He goes, Chris Tucker's like, "Damn!" He goes, "He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3." Like, wholly ad libbed.
Yeah.
Not even like
That's like the
the
most famous line from Rush Hour 2, I feel.
yeah, yeah. And I think this movie is so good. Like I can watch it over and over again because of the jokes, because of the action
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I don't want to talk about Rush Hour 3, but everything these first two movies had, Rush Hour 3 had none of it.
Yeah.
I thought the action was weak.
It's very
The, the
dry.
the comedy was the same comedy that they've already done before.
Hmm.
And I think not to knock Chris Tucker, but he had not been in anything for a while. But when he had come back, he was, he had just got himself clean, I
Yeah,
think.
exactly.
And so I don't think it was the right time for him, but he didn't know he needed the money.
Hmm.
So I think that didn't help either. He wasn't like 100%.
Yeah.
Not that we're going to talk about 3, but I still think, but do you think if he would have stayed clean before this and they would have done this one, 2 years later,
Yeah.
how good would Rush Hour 3 would have been? How much better would it have been?
It would have been so much better. It might have been a different movie too, honestly. But yeah, it would have been really, really good. Um but yeah, this movie, one of my favorite scenes of this movie near the end, like after that one lady shows up, and after Ricky Tan falls down, um, she shows up with a bomb, and then Lee and Carter just have to like zip line down like these down these lights.
Yep.
So similar to which movie is it? Is it Police Story?
Yeah.
When he does that. But yeah, they like grab like some fabric or something from like a jacket or something, and they're both like hanging on to each other, and they just go down the lights um to jump out of the building as it's exploding. And but yeah, the inspector lady, um she kind of like has a thing for Lee during the film, and so near the end she thanks them both and kisses Lee and heads off. And then Carter's just like, oh, we can go on vacation or something, look. And then he just like has all the fake money with him. He just like kept the fake money. And yeah, and
I
that's
I I love that movie. She comes upstairs after they kill Ricky Tan, and she's got that bob and she's speaking Chinese. And he's like, "You one crazy ass bitch," and
yeah.
that's when they do it.
Yeah, that's when
Um,
they yell and do it.
it's crazy because you know these movies. So Jackie Chan did these police story movies.
Mm,
Um, they're somewhat iconic. Police Story One was his directing and producing debut. And the stunt they're talking about is where Jackie's at the top of this thing and has to slide down this pole with lights. Well, the lights are all supposed to be low wattage, and they weren't.
mm-hmm.
So he burned the first layer of skin off his hands, um, along with many other stunts that went horribly wrong in that movie.
Yeah.
Um, but like, it is funny because you know, with them doing that stunt and doing all that, it's just like a tribute of what Jackie Chan does. Now, I don't think it was Chris Tucker doing the stunt,
Mm-hmm.
but it was probably Jackie Chan back then. he was still doing his own stunts.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until a couple, what about like 5, 6 years ago, where he said he wasn't going to do his own stunts anymore.
Yeah.
So, um, and these movies are great. Like you could watch them back to back. You know,
Yeah. They are
um,
one continuous story. Technically, because Rush Hour 3 takes place a few years later. At least it should, because other characters pop up from Rush Hour 1, and it's like this doesn't make sense if there wasn't a time gap.
right?
But yeah, I love, because like the ending ends up just them getting on a plane, and or at the airport or whatever, saying goodbye to people, and um Lee is like, I've always wanted to go to Madison Square Garden. And so then they head up on a plane and go to New York. And that is pretty much the end, besides the bloopers where uh, Jackie can't say Madison Square Garden. What's his name?
Is that the one where
Chris Tucker can't say gefilte fish or something.
No, is this the one where? No, that was the other film.
This is the one where someone calls.
Yes, yes. Jackie was pissed too because
Yeah.
he goes, the guy's like, no, I can't. He goes, Jackie, he just wants to talk to you real quick. Jackie's like, hello? We are really shooting a movie. Yes, we are doing it right now.
We are filming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hong Kong cinema, that would never fly.
Yeah.
Because they want to do it in less takes and get everything done.
Mhm.
That's the goal. As quickly as possible to get it out and get it good, you know? It's so funny. I'm on IMDb and I clicked on Chris Tucker. And I'm like, what does Chris Tucker have he's working on right now, right? And if
Yeah.
you go to his film stuff, right? Rumored, it says announced, Rush Hour 4 announced. But that's all it says.
Yeah, there was a Rush Hour 4. Supposedly they found a script and they all liked it. But I think because of the whole Brett Ratner thing, I don't know who's gonna direct it, because like that was a Brett Ratner baby. So unless they get someone new, like they could get James Gunn. I feel like it would be really good for
Taka. I think Taka would be good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like I think he could do it. I think he could do like action and comedy together. The other thing is they're both a lot older. So, you know, I wonder how it would work out. It's so funny when you click on it, right? It has Chris Tucker is on there, but that's the only person.
Yeah.
But there has been a writer. So, and when you go to Jackie's, there's no mention of this at all.
Well, because for the longest time, like Chris Tucker wanted to do it, but Jackie was just like, "Give me a good script and I'll do it." It's similar to like the whole Ghostbusters thing. Well,
Yep.
like Bill Murray was just like, "Give me a good script first, and maybe I'll consider it." So.
Yeah, and I think they need to let the series go. As much as I'd love to see another Rush Hour, they're both a lot older.
Yeah.
I just don't see 4 happening, and if it is, I don't think it's going to be very good. Now, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
The big thing, they would have to get a really good director. That's my biggest thing.
And that's why I think they tried that show in like 2016, when they did the Rush Hour show on NBC or whatever, and because it was younger people who were trying to play those characters. And honestly, again, like I thought it was fine. It got panned really hard because they're like, this isn't Chris Tucker and this isn't Jackie Chan. I don't think they were trying to be that. I think they were just given a buddy cop type show that was called Rush Hour, and they were kind of doing their own thing for the most part. They weren't trying to act those two roles.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it for what it was. It just never ended.
I totally forgot that show happened.
Yeah, it got canceled. So
I looked it up, and there's at least, how many episodes were there?
Like 8?
10.
Okay.
Wait. 13.
Okay.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they redid Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Which I heard is much better. I have never been a David Carradine fan. I've never thought he was that good of a martial artist. But um, you know, I think they were trying to base their own characters as Detective Carter.
Hmm.
They were not there. I don't remember it well enough to talk about it. I remember when it came out and me being such a diehard Jackie Chan fan, I'm like, I'm not even gonna watch it,
Yeah,
you know? And I probably should go back and watch it. I'm sure they're streaming somewhere, they're free somewhere.
probably somewhere. Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, it wasn't bad. It's definitely not these films. It was trying to be more serious. It's trying to be more like Rush Hour One. Um, but yeah, Rush Hour 1 and 2. These are excellent movies. Um, there's excellent scenes again. Uh, you cannot watch these anywhere for free anymore. So you have to rent it on like iTunes or Amazon Prime or something like that. There are also, I don't know if this still exists that I have in my hands right now, but let me check actually really quick before I tell you guys to go buy something that doesn't exist. Rush Hour Trilogy. Okay, yeah, it still exists. Mine might be a little bit different. It's only $11, $12. Go buy it. Um, I have this audio listeners. I'm holding up Rush Hour Trilogy, the movie, or the collection, I guess. So it has 1, 2, and 3. It's very stylized. I like it a lot. And this is the first time, like even the discs look different. Like it shows like the
Yeah, I remember
car
that
and
edition.
stuff. And Rush Hour 2 like shows like China and stuff like that. And Rush Hour 3 shows the Eiffel Tower. Um, but yeah, this is the first time Rush Hour 2 was ever released on Blu-ray. It's never been released on Blu-ray on its own. And as like I guess like a high schooler or younger, like I was always looking at like blu-ray.com or like places and kept looking it up like where is the Blu-ray for Rush Hour 2? And
Yeah.
1 and 3 had Blu-rays. 2 never had a Blu-ray at all. It only had 2 DVDs and there was like the weird like special features DVD thing, and then there was the regular like original release DVD. And so yeah, when this came out and I found out it came with Rush Hour 2 and it was Blu-ray, I pre-ordered this thing. I bought it instantly.
I remember when that version came out and,
Yeah,
it to be honest, that price to get all 3 of them isn't bad.
yeah,
Um, you'll at least watch 1 and 2 over and over again. Um,
yeah.
I remember going to that website, Alex,
Mm-hmm.
because at that point I was like, I'm gonna convert all my DVDs to Blu-ray, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Which is hilarious because I don't have as many Blu-rays as I used to. At one point, DVD wise, I probably had 200 DVDs. I mean, just
Yeah,
random stuff. Now I probably got like 20 Blu-rays, 4K Blu-rays.
yeah.
Everything's streaming now.
I mean,
So
if you look behind me, I mean this is fake, but it's also my stuff for real. Like I have a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. Like I still collect um a bunch. So I will never get rid of stuff. If I like a movie a lot, I'm going to buy it physically. And that's what I did for Rush Hour cuz I love Rush Hour 2 so much and I like Rush Hour a lot. And then Rush Hour 3 can just sit there, I guess. It
the
has 2
last mo-
discs.
the last movie I bought for myself physically, right,
Mhm.
was the Transformers like anniversary edition,
Yeah, I remember.
and it had the 4K version of the animated Transformers movie. There's like 8 or 9 different documentaries on there and stuff. And to date, that is the best looking version of that film, and it's in steelbook.
Yeah.
That thing is amazing. That's the
Mhm.
last one I think I bought um, there. But speaking of these movies here, they're definitely an easy buy.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and yes, we didn't talk about 3 very much. 3 was just a big mess. But
It really is. I don't like it. I feel like most people don't like it. I mean, if you like it, let us know. Let us know why we're wrong and why you like it. Write in the comments, right on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And we'll do some polls and stuff and try to figure out
absolutely,
all that kind of
absolutely.
stuff.
And you know what? If 4 happens, I'll probably still go see it. You know?
Oh, if war
Uh,
happens, I'm definitely seeing that film.
I don't know, man, because Jackie's getting up there in age, and so is Chris Tucker.
Yeah,
Chris Tucker's like, yeah, I can't be doing this shit anymore.
yeah.
Um, you know, but well, yeah. I mean, that was great. We, definitely talked about both these movies are ones that we both really liked a lot.
Hmm.
Um, there was definitely spoilers, but hopefully from us talking about it, you enjoyed our conversations during the holidays. Uh, we have episodes that launch every single Wednesday in the audio version, and then Friday for the video version. If you
Yeah.
want to see us there, um, we are still going to be pretty active on Facebook and Twitter. So if you like us here, definitely check out those there. Always hit subscribe and download, and it's much appreciated on both of our ends here. I don't think there's anything else to say. Do you have anything else, Alex?
Nothing really, but get at it.
Get at it.